Single member LLCs, multi-member LLCs. There are three key differences. So what are they? What is the difference between a multi-member LLC and a single member LLC? Business owners choose to organize to form an LLC in order to protect their assets. That's right. If the business gets into a lawsuit, goes into bankruptcy, goes into debt, the LLC structure is there to help ensure, in many cases, that the owner's personally held cash and other assets cannot be seized to pay the business liabilities. This is true for both single and multi-member LLCs, but understanding the compliance are the filing requirements behind these entities will help protect you, the ownership of your business. Ownership and tax filings is the number one thing that you need to understand. The single member LLC is only owned by one person. If you form an LLC and you are the only member, you are a single member LLC or an SM LLC. Your tax filing requirement will default you to filing a sole proprietorship when it comes tax time. What does that mean? That means when you get ready to do your personal income taxes, which are due April 15th, you also have to file your business taxes using a form Schedule C. That means your LLC is going to go inside of your individual income tax return. Depending on the state that you actually form your LLC in, you may be required to file additional forms with that state. For example, the state of California requires an additional form. They require Form 568 to be filed for all of its LLCs. Many people think that if they are a single member LLC, as husband and wife or spouse and spouse, that they can just file inside of their own tax return. They cannot. Husband and spouse are listed as members of that LLC. They have to file a partnership because they are really a multi-member LLC. And this is where you have to be very careful. The only limit of the amount of members in a multi-member LLC is only based on the operating agreement. You can have hundreds of people inside of your LLC. When it comes time to file your taxes, you need to know that if you are a multi-member LLC, your taxes are not due April 15th. They are due March 15th. That's very important because most people get that confused thinking, I only need to get my tax returns done in April. You will file Form 1065. This means a separate income tax return must go into IRS under the appropriate EIN number. The income tax return must also include Form K1. This is the form that is specifically lists the income or loss of each member that is allocated to them. One LLC could be as simple as having 2 members, or it could be as complicated as having hundreds and hundreds of members needing to generate hundreds of K1s. That's why information needed to prepare your taxes is so critically important. And I really want you to know, as a single member LLC, you are required to keep track of your income and expenses and have it documented. Come tax time, you're going to need to have your income earned all documented out, and all of your expenses documented out so that we can prepare an accurate tax return. You're going to need to have your expenses categorized and tallied by year. A good example would be marketing. What was your total marketing that you paid for all throughout the entire year, from January through December? If you started your business in June, it's from June through December. You literally will list out the expense and the total of that expense. For example, you may have marketing and the total may be $1,500. You may have repairs and the total may be $600. If you are a multi-member LLC, you need a lot more information in order to file your income tax returns. This is where you're stepping up to the big leads. The multi-member LLC needs income and expenses, just like a single member LLC, of course. But in addition, you need to appoint a tax matters partner. The tax matters person needs to be somebody that is responsible, someone that is going to make sure that they file the tax return on time, or file an extension, and someone that is going to be put in charge of gathering the following information from its members. Every member needs to give you their full legal name, their social security number, and their address. This is imperative so the member can receive their fair share of net profit or net loss for the year via their K-1. It's important to let your members know they cannot file their personal income tax returns until they get the K-1 from their flow-through entity, the multi-member LLC. You also need to provide the capital contribution of each member. You're going to need to know how much each member contributed to the LLC, meaning how much cash did they put into the LLC. This is their initial capital contribution, and this is so important. This is something the IRS looks at. We also need to know ownership percentages. We will need to know, are they a 20% member, a 50% member, a 1% member? What is their ownership percentage? Another vital component needs to be put in the operating agreement. If you have an operating agreement, it is generally going to capture all this relevant information that is so important for you to have. The next difference is centered around confidentiality. Single member LLCs are considered to be disregarded for federal income tax purposes. A single member LLC is classified as a disregarded entity, requiring you, the owner, to use your social security number for all information returns that are related to the income tax. For example, if a disregarded entity, LLC, that is owned by an individual is required to fill out a Form W-9 for someone they're doing business with, they are going to have to put their social security number on that Form W-9. This means you formed a business, yet your social security number is still being attached to the business and is given out whenever there is a request. An LLC will only need an EIN as a single member LLC if it has employees or it's required to file excise returns like fuel tax returns and things of that nature. Most new single member LLCs are classified as disregarded entities and will not be obtaining an EIN number. But in case you do need to get one, you're going to need to fill out Form SS4 with the IRS, application for employer identification number. All you need to do is go on irs.gov, check it out, to get your EIN number. But remember, a single member LLC, you are disregarded for tax purposes. Your tax return is due April 15, and you will file Form Schedule C in with your personal income tax return. Multi-member LLCs, you will acquire an EIN number. You need that EIN number because you're going to need it to open up a separate bank account for the business. That's right. When you open up an LLC and you are a multi-member LLC, you're going to need to open up a separate bank account for your business, and they are going to require that EIN number. And here's the thing, as a multi-member LLC, you are able to supply the EIN number so you have more confidentiality. No one is going to be getting your social security number. That's why it's so important to really think through what you're doing as a business owner. If you're thinking about confidentiality, if you're thinking about moving your business forward, you got to think long-term, you got to think strategic, because how many people do you know want their social security number to be given out? Not very many. That's why it's so important that if you are going to choose between a multi-member LLC or a single member LLC, that you talk to somebody to vet these types of things out. That's why I love dropping these type of nuggets on a video, because it gives you great information. And if you found this helpful, I want you to subscribe to my channel so you can come back and listen to this great content. And if you also would like to drop me a comment, I would greatly appreciate that. Like, comment, and subscribe. I can't wait to see you on my next video.